She's in her 30s or something like that.
Oh man, she's in her 40s now.
Oh really? Melanie Mack is there?
I think she is. Yeah, I can look that up.
She's in her 40s. That's she's well.
She looks good for somebody in her 40s. Yeah, but I mean, you and I both know this. Everybody here knows this. If she's single over 25 and hot, it's not the men.
Yeah,
it's not the men.
Yeah. She does look a little whack job. But the last time I saw, like, somebody was posting about her on Twitter, and because I had like just kind of like blew her off along with some of these other. There's a whole like, I don't know what it is. There's like this whole subset of, I don't call them gamers, but I guess they're gamers. But like they're like what was it what's the Nerdrotic crew, like the Friday Night Live or Friday Night
Tights,
Tights, whatever it is, crew. And I used to like Chrissy Mayer. I used to like her quite a bit, but like then I find out that like through Andrew Wilson, like she and like Brittany Venti and the rest of these girls are like all coming at me, like they're all colluding to come at me. I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's like I've been nothing but nice to you. And then I have no idea who the guy is who's like the leader of the pack at Nerdrotic there, but like I have no idea why I spurred this guy on.
Wait, you spurred Gary on?
Apparently. Well, you know, it's funny. They did a show at Sticky Paws in Vegas, like, which was our old studio when we were doing Access Vegas. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll come down there, and like, because I practically worked there, you know, for the longest time. And you know, and they were like real standoffish, and they're like, you know, hey, Rollo's out here. Like, I'm like, fuck, I just want to come in and say hi, right? And you know, I wasn't don't have me in your show. I don't care. Just, you know, just pop in, pop out. Dude, they're like closing the doors and like, you know, like okay, well, fuck, man. But they have their own kind of like really kind of closed off, like, let's say clique, you know, but like they have their own sort of closed off little subculture going there. And it's funny to me to see how like gamer culture sort of transitioned over into like outrage culture, yeah, or everybody. So case in point, like Jeremy from the Quartering, who I really liked for a very long time. I liked because I remember him when he was just cracking open like packs of like Magic the Gathering cards.
Are you into Magic, by the way?
That's why it's still called the Quartering, because I don't know, for whatever reason he called it the Quartering, because he was like, that was all he did was cover Magic the Gathering stuff. And then he went to Gen Con or something like that and got his ass kicked from somebody who had like a problem with one of his political takes or some shit like that. And I was on his side. I'm like, that's pretty fucked up. And from that point on, he was like all about politics. He got in with Tim Pool. He started like, you know, I mean, to his credit, you know, he built himself out from a niche that was kind of limited, let's be honest. But I can remember him when he just did Magic the Gathering stuff. And I honestly kind of liked him better back then, because he was like more talking about like pop culture, and he was really critical of it. And then everything that went down in 2023, in the summer of 2023, now suddenly he's taking everybody's like, he got into that side, that little sub clique right there. And, you know, when all the shit went down with like Destiny and Lawrence Southern and everything else, like, of course, he just jumped all over that. Like, call me, talk to me. I'd be happy to talk to you. But like, he just instantly, you know, oh, well, you're a Manosphere guy, so you must be some fucking retard, right?
Oh, yeah. I used to watch them a lot.
So I was like, and that's what I was saying, like in 2020, at the end of 2024, I think when the Kiwi Farms leaks hit with Lawrence Southern and Destiny and all that sick ass shit, right? I'm like, I'm still waiting on my apology from Jeremy for the Quartering. It hasn't happened yet, but like, dude, you jumped off the deep end.
I used to watch Friday Night Tights a lot, but they are very blue pill, man. As soon as somebody said anything about the girls there, even if they were right, they'd come to her defense, and they come to her defense hard. I mean, I remember even what's his name? He was pretty cool. Come on, what's his name? Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. Razor Fist. He blocked me because I said something about Melanie Mack. It's like, really, dude?
What happened to him too? He used to be so edgy too. I used to like Razor Fist quite a bit, but then he went like really super like trad Christian guy.
Yeah. Do you play Magic?
I have a question for you guys about that.
I haven't played in ages. I still have my cards. I haven't played in ages though.
Oh, nice. Never knew that. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was curious about your guys' opinion on this. Obviously, there's this, we're kind of touching on it now, and there's this shift right into the tradcon grift. right? Where these just like feminists have been infiltrating Christianity for quite some time. Rollo, you've written a book on it, right? I'm pretty sure that's in one of your books, right? Is that in the religion one? You talked about that a bit.
Yeah.
So it's been, So I mean, this has been predictable for a long time, and it's now coming to this sort of head culturally where it's now a super common thing, right? And the tradcon grift is like just incredibly common. I'm wondering if it's economically related, or obviously there's going to be other factors. But I wonder what you guys think, like why the shift from strong, independent, more atheist leaning, abortion leaning, I don't need no man kind of feminism into, sex worker positive feminism into tradcon feminism. Like, I'm just wondering culturally what's causing that shift, just as a thought problem. I was wondering what you guys think.
Because women
That's
are
a
turning
loaded
30.
question. No, but to be honest, it's probably multifaceted. So on one hand, regardless of all the posturing online of angry, bitter women go to where men are. Men have been disenfranchised and they're turning more conservative. You couple that with the guys who don't want to put in the work, the idea of having a society structure where you get to get paired off one man, one woman becomes appealing. So as the men go to church, the women start leaning that way as well. And then you just get the normal societal cycle of the pendulum swinging back and forth. I do not think this will last. In probably another 10 years.
It always just shifts, right? But
yeah, like we're going to go back to the far left and guys simping and dyeing their hair blue and being polyamorous being the cool thing again. Like it's just the cycle.
I think accountability is a good thing that you mentioned. I mean, it allows women to really rationalize not having any accountability for their behavior or their past. You know what I mean? The idea that I can just press the reset button if I show up to church, and it gives men, like a lot of weaker men who haven't done very well with women, that opportunity to finally win the girl he couldn't get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that you got to remember, like, the thought to, I guess OnlyFans to Christianity pipeline. I've done like a couple of episodes on that, but I kind of like, OnlyFans was just becoming a thing in 2020, 2021 when I was publishing Religion, the fourth book. Yeah, and I talked about this in that book. Now, a good portion of that book was just sort of like laying out the groundwork for, like, your churches and your religions have been, at least from the social side of things. I'm not saying from the religious or spiritual side. I'm just saying from like the congregation side, right? The business that is like modern religion.
The actual institution.
Yeah, has become very feminized. That's why I joke about it. I call them franchises, right? Like, what franchise of Christianity are you? It's not your whatever your sect or your dogma is. It's like, what franchise do you belong to? And that was an in for feminism. So you've got, because you got to remember that churches are a business. They're granted, they're tax free in the United States. I don't know how they are over in Europe, but like, they're tax free in the United States. And if you spent any time in Florida, and especially Central Florida, like Orlando area, you cannot, like, tomorrow Sunday. Here's a challenge for you: go to any Winn-Dixie, like burned out Winn-Dixie or Publix, or like any high school auditorium or any strip mall, and I guarantee you there'll be a church there, right? There'll be a seed church there, especially like if the high school auditoriums, there's going to be a church that are holding their congregation there of some sort. And really all they are is just like the startups is what they are. And so they have to appeal to it's not enough to just like read the Bible and praise the Lord, right? You have to have a website. You have to have a YouTube channel. You have to have a blog. You have to have a social media account. It's like this is influencer culture right now. And it's not just like pastors. I mean, like even psychologists, like Taraban has to have all that stuff too. He's got to have a blog. He's got to have a YouTube. He can't just have a private practice. You'll die. He will die if he just relied on the revenue from private practice. Authors, I'm in the same boat, man. I mean, everybody's got to be an influencer brand. Well, the same thing applies to to churches right now. And as a result, because it's that social media kind of thing, now you get like women who are sort of like coming to the end of their cycle. You know, they're coming to the end of like their epiphany phase, which I've talked about a million times. And that's when they want to get right with the Lord. And whether they were like raised on that and then they abandoned it and came back to it, like a prodigal daughter kind of thing, or they just thought, hey, I just need to start living right. And usually at that point, it's when they've run out of options. And I'm not saying like a girl like Nala Ray has not run out of options, but like she could, like Nala Ray could still be doing OnlyFans, easily still be making a shit ton of money on OnlyFans. But she's decided that that's not what she wants to do anymore for whatever reason. But now she's applied that same kind of grift to her Christian podcast, whatever the fuck.
Same marketing style, but
same thing. So, honestly, I think Nala will fall away and then we'll go back. I don't know, maybe not go back to OnlyFans, but she'll want to be like, she has to be in the limelight. She's one of these chicks who's like this, has to have this attention all the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't see that ending up very well. But I think what happens is like in like you're mentioning, Paul, in my fourth book in religion, I talked about how the business side of it sort of corrupts the doctrinal side or the faith side of the whole thing. And so you end up having guys who like the business end, they have to put asses in the seats. You have to get tithe checks, right? And women are the primary consumers in the United States. So when they will align their message with whatever is pro-female at that time. That's why we don't hold them accountable. Like no mainstream church is going to hold women accountable because it's not in their financial best interests to do so. Yeah. Because if they did, then those women would leave and they go off to find another church that's basically speaking their language, which is usually emotionalism and everything else. But the one thing, the one mass appeal of Christianity that like Christian has over all other religions is that it's primarily founded on forgiveness, right? So it's not works. So you don't earn technically you don't earn your way into heaven in the Christian religion. It's by grace, right? And so it's kind of like a mulligan, right? You know, it's like a get out of jail free card, right? So obviously it's very attractive to women who like, well, it doesn't matter what my body count is because the Lord has forgiven me of all of that stuff. And so if he forgave me, why can't you? Right. Yeah. And so that's, I mentioned that in the book. I said the reason why you'll see women in their epiphany phase sort of like opt into Christianity is because it's based on forgiveness. If they had to earn it, they don't, with the exception of maybe Brittany Renner, they don't usually like convert to Islam, right? Just out of for the hell of it. You don't see them converting to Judaism or, they don't become Sikhs or they don't become like, Hindus or anything like that. They always opt for the Christian side of things because it gives them a do-over. Yeah. And so if that's the case, and especially if you've got, 2 kids in tow and you're a single mother from like 2 different baby daddies, and you just look back at all, it's an escape from accountability is what it is, but it's through a religious spiritual forgiveness. And that's why it's very appealing. And that's also why it really like rubs me the wrong way, because like what people will say, well, don't you think that they're sincere? Or a woman can't convert to Christianity. I'm like, I don't have, I'm sure she would pass a polygraph test if I asked her, are you sincere in your belief? I don't question their sincerity. I question their timing. Why now?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. When it's convenient for you. Not only that, though, it's like forgiveness. Yeah. Okay. In Christian doctrine, you don't need to work. You don't need to do a bunch of things to get forgiveness. You got God's grace, and that gets you into the door, so to speak, in heaven. But it doesn't remove Christian doctrine. It doesn't remove accountability and it doesn't remove consequence. Like if you murder somebody, right, and then God forgives you, that doesn't bring the person you murdered back to life. There's still consequences to action. So if a girl spent the last decade of her life practicing detaching from sexual relationships, practicing maladaptive behaviors with men, and then now she's just going to settle down. It doesn't work that way. You have all these consequences built up behaviorally in your brain that you also have to unwind, probably trauma, self-induced, you got to deal with. There's a bunch of work that needs to be done. And that's the story that's not being told. That's what frustrates me the most about it, is they're only telling part of the story on the Christian side, and it ends up being a lie. It's an empty promise.
Oh, yeah,
So
but because women don't have agency, Paul. How dare we? Women do not have agency,
Really no
sir.
moral agency.
So on the like practical side of things, I wish I could remember who it was by, but it does come up every now and then. It's an article called Real Remorse versus Naugahyde Remorse. And it's a really good like checklist of behaviors that you can observe of someone who says that they're sorry and is seeking forgiveness, that you can kind of check against to
That
see.
sounds fun.
Yeah. I actually used it myself in my life. And it's a really good guideline. Because, and I wish I could remember all the points off the top of my head, but I can't. But basically it shows the difference between, I guess, stated remorse versus revealed remorse. If you kind of want to use that same stated preferences, revealed preferences guideline.
Is this a book?
Like one? No, it's actually a really short blog post, and it actually came from like, I don't think it was the feminist sphere, but it was like the female divorce sphere, but it got adopted into the red pill because it was incredibly useful. Like, for example, I remember one of the points is if someone feels is truly remorseful, they're not going to push you for forgiveness. Like, they are going to give you the time that they need to be angry with you, to not forgive you. Hell, they may never forgive you. They may let you back in your life, but you may never be forgiven. And if you're truly remorseful, you're going to be okay with that fact. And you're going to understand that fact. But a lot of people who say they want to be forgiven, they kind of push that other person to be like, have you forgiven me yet? Well, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. Like, why haven't you forgiven me? Well, that's not true remorse. What you're trying to do is smooth things over so you can go back to the way things were before you fucked up. Right. And so this blog just has a wonderful bullet point list of kind of like what true remorseful actions and behaviors look like. And it's used not often in workshops and such, because usually people follow Iron Rule 7 and don't go rooting through the trash, but not everyone. I can speak on that personally. But
it sounds useful even if there's an offense before without a breakup. Do you know what I mean?
100% it is, right? Like, and so yeah, when it comes to kind of like circling back to what we were talking about, is unfortunately, all institutions are prone to corruption. I believe the saying is what starts as a movement becomes a business, then devolves into a racket. With institutionalized Christianity, and I want to make that distinction because the religion in and of itself is not the same as the institutional structures that have been created around it. The institution, by and large, is corrupted at this point. It is a racket. And women see that, and they exploit it, and that's what we get that OF to tradwife pipeline, is because it is a racket at this point.
I get that a lot when like I'm hypercritical of Christianity, particularly when the next porn star decides that she wants to like, you know, put away her old ways and you know, convert to I love Jesus now, right? And but the thing is it's not that. It's they claim authority afterwards, like, oh, well, here's my testimony. You're supposed to, right? Here's my testimony, blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing is then they turn that into, they make their necessity a virtue, right? They turn that into a grift. Like even Nala Ray, like within like, I hate using her as an example because there's other ones you could use too. But like if you look at her, she dropped her OnlyFans, she dropped her, all of her business stuff. And then she picked up doing and then she started doing classes like how to get out of OnlyFans and be a godly woman of God or some shit like that. Like she's like a whole bunch of these classes, like Kajabi classes, like teachable classes. And it took actually it was Andrew Wilson who brought that to my attention at that time. But one of the things Andrew was always saying is like if a woman was really truly repentant of her old ways, she would sit in the corner of the church and be just glad that she could even sit in the corner of the church, not like pipe up and all this other all this other bullshit.
Yeah, where all her opinions and bullshit.
You literally had. So what's funny is in December of 2024, I think it was. That's when I saw the baptism videos of Nala Ray, and and then of course Michael Knowles picks up on it. He does that video, like the discussion between him, her, and her fiance. Then I guess is now his husband. They look like they're on Mount Olympus, like they're here. We are in heaven, and we're going to interview Nala Ray, and then. So within a matter of months, like by June of 2025, you have Nala Ray on the docket or as a speaker, a listed guest speaker for TPUSA's Women's Leadership Summit Ministry Day.
Of course you do.
I'm like, holy fuck, man. And remember, that's before Charlie got shot. So like you can't even blame it on, well, everything went to hell when, no, Charlie was still part of that organization at that time. And actually did interviews with her as well. And it's like, guys, wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's a racket. It's a racket. And that's the thing that bugs me. So like, if I say this, like everything I just told you right now, if I go and I typed out a tweet, everybody goes, well, you're an atheist. Or why you don't believe, you're not a believer anyways. Well, I'm like, no, I am actually. I write quite extensively on like the last couple of chapters of religion about like why I believe in God and why I'm a Christian. And people are like, well, you don't talk like that. I'm like, well, the thing is like, you guys got to show some discernment here. You guys got to show some, like, because they're going to come in here and lead the flock astray, so to speak. Right. But if I say it, I'm a dick. But if some other chick that's in the organization says it, then suddenly everybody takes notice. And I'm like, well, that's just one more indication of how feminized your religion has become, because now it's like everybody, again, it's based on forgiveness, right? It's that prodigal daughter returneth. And they really want the idea of like having these, incorrigible OnlyFans girls who've made quite a bit of money. And they're like, okay, I think I've topped out now. I'm going to find Jesus, right? And like I said, it's not the sincerity part; it's the convenience part. It's like the timing, and like, don't you guys see, like you see this happen so regularly? I think what's going to happen is it's going to get oversaturated. It's a new grift, like it's a new pivot right now. But give it time. With the 10th or 12th one that does this, then people are just going to start rolling their eyes. Or it's going to take one of these girls who will get into a sex scandal with one of the pastors or something like that. And they're always welcome to come to the, like
Elijah Schaefer.
There's nothing better. Yeah. Elijah Schaefer and Sarah Stock, right? Remember that shit? And Sarah Stock she wasn't an OnlyFans girl. She was supposed to be a good, upstanding Catholic, right?
Right.
Like, I agree with you, Rollo, like 100%. I don't really care too much about the timing so much, but I do find it odd. Like, I don't begrudge anybody from making money, and I certainly am in no moral position to judge someone from turning over a new leaf, but I do find it suspect as hell when within a month of you turning over your life, you're now monetizing it. Like, that just seems very, very disingenuous.
Well, speaking as an authority, I think Rollo, you pointed that out pretty well. They come back as if they're an authority of something. They've been in Christianity for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? But now they're going to give people a talk on how to convert over and how to be a good wife and all this bullshit. And so that's how it's like clearly a grift. If they disappeared for 5 years and then came back and started trying to platform, that might be different. Right?
Well,
how about they never come back? How about they just go to their life? Have
I'm
a
okay
husband?
with that too.
Yeah, like there's porn stars that have done that, right? That like as soon as they convert, they just go raise a family. You never hear about them again,
right?
Unless you're like a super gooner and super fan of them, you have to search them really hard. And I'm like, listen, that's kind of sincere, right? Because she said, hey, and you know what's even more sincere? Just saying that you enjoyed it. Right? Just say that you loved taking D on camera, and everyone's gonna be like, hey, at least she's honest. But that's the thing.
Yep.
They just continuously say, oh, it was a mistake. I'm like, do you fuck your husband the way you fucked those guys on camera?
Right, of course.
Right.
Not only was it a mistake, but it boils down to being somebody else's fault too.
Yeah.
Trauma,
Yeah.
the guy, they were duped into it, like all this.
That's the
There's
thing
this,
with
like-
the apologies, right? Try not accepting it, and you'll see the genuineness of the apology. Because if somebody's actually sorry, they can live with the fact you not accepting that apology. They can live with it.
I don't have the clips anymore, but I did about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a show on Nala Ray's video that she had done with her husband, and she was in some just like she's got this podcast, right? And I guess if she doesn't have a guest, she gets her husband's name is Jordan. She gets Jordan to come in there and talk to him, and I don't know how it was a question. It was like a Q&A kind of thing. And one of the super chatted questions, I guess, was like, how does Jordan deal with your porn from and has he seen it and does he have to deal with it? And he said, yeah, he says, I still have those images in my mind and it's really, I have to pray it away kind of thing. And, it got really super kind of saccharine religious. And I thought that was funny. And then somebody sent me another video from way before that. And she was talking to one of her girlfriends on her podcast. And she said, has your husband seen your porn? He goes, oh no, I would never have married him if he'd seen my porn.
He's seen it.
Yeah. So he's copping to it right then and there, which, I mean, he basically just caught her in a lie right there. But the thing is like, you're right, Nuke. It's like, does he get that level? Do you think that guy gets that level of sexual intensity that she had, like when she's like banging 2 other girls and another dude at the same time? Like, is that, and I think that's probably what probably throws him off the most, because once these guys, especially if they're like raised Christian, I don't have any reason to believe that this guy wasn't, but like if you were like sort of raised in the church, you're kind of like boy in the plastic bubble, right? You're already taught to be sort of this blue pill passive, like passivity and kindness and lovingness and this, and like here's like happy wife, happy life, that messaging for men in the church, at least in most mainstream Christian churches, is very pervasive. And so now you've decided that your ship has come in, and this former porn star who's like hot as fuck, and she wants to get married, and she's not as into it with you as she was when she, as you can clearly see from all of her her priors. I think that's an illustration, like Nala Ray and Jordan. I think that's an illustration of a lot of sort of quote unquote Christian marriages, because they're not real. Like, I think the guys think they're going to get their woman's like sexual best, and they're not. And even to the point where they look at like their old Instagram shots, or maybe she did OnlyFans, or maybe she was like, still has pictures up of her fun time in the foam cannon party in Cancun on spring break. I was so crazy in my college years. Like, he doesn't get that. He gets this version of her, which is just sort of this watered down, sort of like meek, mild, doesn't get her sexual best.
Well, you also have to think about this, Rolo. Like, within most religious communities, they have a very, very strong Madonna whore complex. So as a woman who's turned over a new leaf, there's no incentive for them to continue to be their sexual best, right? Because it's reinforced that you're now the Madonna, so you need to act like the Madonna. And if you dare act like the whore that you once were, well, then everything else is assumed to also be false. So there is a certain part where it is kind of Christian men's fault for encouraging that.
For sure, dude.
Well, they love
that's
it.
why you get some of those sexless marriages, right?
No, it's like, the thing is like, it's like ordained, right? Oh man, I got this really hot chick who knows how to fuck. She's on OnlyFans. That's what she used to do, but now she's found Jesus and we pray together and everything else. And it's like, now we're married and we can have that kind of sex, but it's like, okay now. But it doesn't happen for that guy, because what motivated the sex that she had when she was doing porn, or she was doing OnlyFans, or she was on Instagram, or she was like in her like crazy sexual past, right? What motivated that is not present in the relationship she has with her husband, right? It's all familiarity, it's all comfort, it's all it's all security. The security side of the dual mating strategy is like made up for in spades, right?
And transactional too, right?
Because that's the kind of guy that he is. He knows what he's a servant leader, right? And who is he leading and who is he serving? Her. And that's I think that's the paradox that a lot of these guys get into when it comes, and it doesn't have like I'm using, you know, OnlyFans girls as sort of the example here, but that's like modern women, right? That's Gen Z, latter half of the millennials right now. And I think it's also one of the reasons why women do not like the question, what's your body count? Right? They don't want they don't want to have if you don't know what topic to do a show on, do body count. Just body count. Like if you're on whatever, like when Brian is out of ideas on whatever podcast, let's talk about body counting, because that always hits. It always hits. And it's easy to get that indignation kind of reaction. What's his name? John from It's Complicated. He's the guy that goes out. He's here in Vegas. He goes out and does these on the street interviews. And the ones that hit the hardest are the ones where the guy's talking, like he comes up with some pretty good questions. I'll give him that. But when it refers back to body count, it's women don't want to talk. Well, if body count's not important, then tell me what your body count is, right? Well, I'm not going to say. Even when it's been sort of contradicted, they still won't say it. And the reason is because that will impact what their future husband will expect from them when they get into, it's almost like they understand, it's like this preconception that they know that they're going to get into this sort of familiarity and this comfort and everything with this guy. And they know, I think on some level of consciousness, that their sexual past actually makes a difference, and not the way that they think it does. Oh, he's going to think of me as this slut. No, he's not going to think of you as slut. He's going to think of you as his slut. Like he thinks he's going to be able to get that for the rest of his life. Like all that shit where you just going, you know, doing all these sexual acrobatics and you're having three ways and you're taking it every way till Tuesday, right? He thinks that that's what you're capable of delivering to him in the state of marriage, and you won't do that. And that's why they don't talk about body count, don't talk about sexual past, because the recording like this, the digital footprint is inescapable right now. So rather than addressing body count from a male perspective, they just say it shouldn't matter. And if you can say it doesn't matter, then anything she's done in her past is fair game, right? It doesn't make any difference, right? Yeah. Or it should.
Well, there's also another interesting dynamic that we haven't touched on, which is intras within the same, right? Yeah, intrasexual competition between women. So women will say body count doesn't matter, even though they're fully aware that men, regardless of how much societal anti-shaming there is, men will always judge women on their body count. And inherently they know this, but women don't compete by being better than the competition. They compete by tearing the competition down. So even on a subconscious level, they will parrot like all the talking points of where body count shouldn't matter, knowing that if they can conceal their body count, they can sabotage their competition.
It's not about concealing theirs, it's about revealing the others.
Exactly, right?
That's
like,
well, I mean,
that's why
I mean, whatever it takes to win the competition. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how women filter too for men. They just they push things that make men unattractive in order to filter out to see if the guys get it. Like, oh, I like a guy to give me flowers on the first date and take me out to dinner and dote on me and all that stuff. But what she's really saying is, I'm going to see which dumbasses fall for this. And then they tell women, no, eat all that cake. You know, all bodies are beautiful. I'm like, yeah, that's intersexual competition. When you encourage unattractive behaviors in men and women, that's the female strategy. That's why like the PUAs figure this out like within a year of them, you know, they're like, oh, you know, yeah. And then the average guy can't fucking figure this out. Yeah. I wanted to add too, another thing is the A word that the tradcons like talking about, where like, I think Roll, you mentioned this a couple years ago, where they love to talk, the religious people like to talk about how the A word is murder, right? It's the worst thing to ever happen. But when Lila Rose will go on a show and sit down and hold both of the hands of a woman who's had like 4 of them and be like, why would you do this? I'm like, that's a murderer. Well, how would you treat, you know how men treat murderers? We lock them up and then for 10 years and then we kill them, right? Lethal injection. Yeah, especially here in Texas. But with women, we hold their hands and we're like, what could we have done better to make your life better? And there it is. It's just like, how can anyone take this religion seriously if it's like there's this glaring double standard? And I'm like, well, why do you think men are leaving the church? It's because of this shit.
Yeah, people ask me that. I was on Access Vegas and I got into this conversation and people are saying, you know, what's the solution? I'm like, make your own religion, make it like do your own church, right? Basically, because at this point you're not going to correct any of that like feminine gynocentric interest in the church right now. It's fully assimilated. And if it hasn't fully assimilated, it's almost there. And yeah, exactly what you're saying as far as the abortion thing is concerned. Yeah, I punch both ways. So like if I'm talking to somebody like Destiny or like there's a progressive or something I'm talking about, my first when we talk about the abortion, it's like, well, what's the latent function of abortion? Why do we have abortion? What function? What problem does abortion solve for society?
Can't even ask the question. They'll go crazy. You can't even ask that question.
They'll lose their mind because like the only answer is, well, it's a fail-safe for women's bad reproductive choices. That's what it is. Like functionally, pragmatically, that's why abortion exists, right? And if you say that, they will never say, well, it's because women has the right to choose. They'll make it some like sort of like really sort of flowery, ephemeral, you know, ethical kind of thing. You know, she should be able to do, you know, it's her body, she gets to do. They don't want to get down to the nuts and bolts of why it exists in the first place. So what? Because if you say that, then you say, well, women are making bad reproductive choices, right? And then if you ask the tradcons, the same thing. Like if you say like, okay, well, if you think that abortion is murder, then should women who have had abortions or who have them in the future, depending on how you look at it, should they be convicted, like just outright convicted of murder one because it's premeditated, you know, with malice and forethought, it's murder. And then of course what happens is they hem and haw and they want to, it's all about forgiveness at that point. You're right, Nuke. But at that point it's like, well, but before we get to the forgiveness part, you got to say, well, if those men had kept their dicks in their pants, then we wouldn't have to worry about this. Or it's, well, it's not her that actually performs the abortion. It's a male abortion doctor. I thought that was interesting because it's like male abortion doctor. But you like, I mean, he might be the hitman, but she put out the hit, right? I mean, so it's like if a child is aborted, it is entirely 100% the decision of the mother to do that. It's not the father, it's not the hitman abortion guy, it's her. So if that's the case, I mean, you could make a case that maybe like the abortion doctor is an accomplice or an accessory to murder, sure, but she's still going to jail and she's still getting lethal injection. Do you support the death penalty for women who have, because if abortion is murder, that's what it is, right? And then of course, then they'll just like a eel in the weeds, man. They'll try to make it about guys. That'll be the first thing, and then of course they'll like it's always after the fact or before the fact rationalizations, but they just simply
economic factors. They always say economic factors.
Exactly. Yeah. Or then they'll say, I love this one. They'll go, well, but if it's a product of rape, and I'm like, yeah, that's accounts for like 1% or less than 1% of all
0.03 or something like that. Yeah.
The overwhelming like 98.9% of abortions are performed electively. Let's just cut the shit, okay? So if that's gonna be your conviction, you better be ready to talk about that kind of stuff, and none of them ever really are.
Let's not forget the favorite excuse of the patriarchy, whatever the hell that is.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's what gets me is like whenever we have discussions about patriarchy, I always kind of want to bring it back to like sexual dimorphism or the division of labor, right? Because there was a reason patriarchy evolved. It's not because some sinister group of guys got together and said, okay, guys, we're going to control all the women, right? It just came out naturally because of just the way we evolved. You know, women are the vulnerable sex. They're the incubators of the next generation. And men were the disposable, sacrificial sex who evolved for combat. I mean, just physically evolved for combat. So when you look at like just the coevolution of human males and human females, the best way to organize society is around the rational, ideally around the rational, reasonable idea that a man is responsible for his wife and his children and should have the commensurate authority to affect all that responsibility. And that's why patriarchy will always be a better balanced system than anything else that we've been able to come up with. It's certainly not egalitarian because everything is built on hierarchies in patriarchy, right? And whether you accept this or not, I mean, that's the natural order of things. It's like performance hierarchy. It's not dominance hierarchy. People make the mistake of like saying that men's sort of way of organizing society is based on dominance. It's not. It's based on ideally, it's based on performance hierarchies. Who does competence? Who does the best job? And sometimes dominance plays a part in that for sure, but it's really built on performance. And what is that performance rewarded with? Hot sex. That's what it's rewarded. When women stop rewarding men for being jerks and assholes, and stop dating the guys who are narcissists. when nice guys are like, men will start becoming nice when nice guys get laid. It's as simple as that.
Well, not to derail this conversation too much, but you can see the outward effects right now in society of not having a competence-based system. Like there's a replication crisis in science. There's a competence crisis all around. And you can't convince me or anyone with a head on straight that leaning towards DEI, more feelings-based, the growth of HR departments, which are all very feminine coded, hasn't had a direct negative impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Bridges are falling and planes are crashing. And here's the thing. They used to be, remember when we used to like see the pilot when getting on a plane? Like, I don't see pilots anymore. I just see and why is that, right? It's because people, no matter, reality is reality. If you're going to be in the air in a death trap, you want probably a 50 to 60-year-old white guy who's probably been an Air Force captain flying F-14s that looks like, like he knows what he's doing, than a 28-year-old woman who just graduated flight school.
I want to see Michael Sartain behind the pilot seat. That's what I want to see.
There you go. He flew helicopters, right?
No, no, you're thinking of Robert Kiyosaki. No, Mike, my co-host on Access Vegas was he was a captain in the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah, so that's what you want to see. But the thing is, society is very interesting in that whenever we're trying so hard to get women to like just be awesome. Right, we're lying to ourselves over and over again. But when it comes to life and death, which like getting on a plane or something, or calling a police officer, you don't want 2 female police officers to show up at your door after when you have a break-in. You want bald, burly, 300-pound motherfuckers to come in and like handle the neighborhood criminal, right? But the thing is, we're like la la, no, I don't want to see reality, and then it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna keep hurting. Because at the end of the day, people want to see the pilot. No matter how much we want to see the pilot.
Well, not according to Netflix with all the movies they get out, with a female action character that beat up all the men in every movie.
I know.
What do you mean?
It's so funny. I love seeing those. Like when I don't remember the last one I saw, but like every time my wife and I were watching something on Netflix and it's like some sort of like FBI's, secret agent kind of thing. Yeah. Like this chick weighs like what, $110 wet, and it's like she's just like knocking the like 1 shot, 2 shots, and out, right? And I'm like
in the neck,
and the guy probably weighs 220 pounds and could easily take a shot like that and like come back again, right? Nope, just goes down. And I know it's just so crazy. Like it's
hilarious.
Like it used to be. I mean, when you watch a movie, there's a certain requirement upon the viewer to suspend your disbelief. Right? Like I'm okay with Star Wars because it's a sci-fi movie and everything, but if suddenly some little girl is like smacking some guy, I'm like, I don't know. That could not.
Believability just goes right out the window.
And the thing is, it is possible. I mean, look at was it Alien Alien, the movie with what's her face?
Sigourney Weaver. She was a good female. She was dude.
But the thing is, it was realistic because like basically throwing a woman in that scenario, she'd probably do the same. She would struggle physically, right? Well, that's believable. She's doing it to protect her kid, I think it was. That's mothers are very protective of their kid. And yeah, she was scared the whole movie. She was terrified. I'm like, yeah, that's believable. But then you
Terminator
see Rey
2
Skywalker.
also.
Yeah, when you see like
great female lead, tough, but then she wasn't just kicking ass and beating up Terminators. You know, she was running for her life. It was way more realistic, dude. But that we've lost that realism.
And then a controlling mech can defeat the queen.
Let me jump in here real quick. There is no Christianity without the brotherhood. Read any Bible translated prior to the 1970s, and you will see this. Rollo's right. Men need to start our own thing. Yeah, without men, they have nothing.
Walk away.
Walk away. I brought this up even before I wrote my religion book. I said one of the reasons, like, if particularly evangelical sort of Protestant religion guys are pissed off at the red pill or the manosphere, however you want to call it, is because it took like pickup artists that look like Mystery with like black nail polish, a top hat and a fucking feather boa. I'm a magician. To point out to the dudes in the church, this is why your men have left the church. They're still angry about that. They're still pissed off. They're like, these guys said, there's nothing here for us. We're gonna go and find something else, right? And it took like guys like snarky motherfuckers like me to go like, well, this is why the guys aren't in your church anymore, and this is why this is a fundamental flaw, or a structural flaw in your church. But they can't repair that without taking a hit financially. Like imagine, like you're like, okay, this is the church of the Red Pill Holy Brotherhood, right? You don't get tithes from anybody in that church.
Yeah, I mean, women are driving the economy, right?
You got to have a subscription service or something, man. I don't, it doesn't happen that way. But it used to. When religion, well, that's the thing that gets me is like whenever I see these girls like come in, and it's like I said, the OnlyFans to Christianity pipeline. It gets me because it's personal to me. It's like people kept telling me like, Rollo, you should just convert to Islam because that's where the real men are. I'm like, but that's not why I would convert to that religion. Do you understand that, right? It's not like who's got the best like hold on like masculinity. It's like who do I think makes the most sense from a spiritual, faith-based, religious, doctrinal position. That's what should be your deciding factor, which clearly isn't evangelical Christianity at this point, but because it seems very compromised. And if all it took was like feminism to compromise it, well, what does that say about the doctrinal character of that church? Okay, but it doesn't, like you were saying before, it doesn't like Paul, you were saying before, it's like it doesn't matter, like the church and the faith is separate from the way that it's organized and the people who are coming in, worship team music and all this other crap that goes along with it, right? Like there's a reason why that things have changed in, well, certainly the United States, but Western cultures when it comes to like Christianity, is because it's there to appeal to a mass appeal to women, and just like there's nothing for them there anymore. But
well, to your point, Rollo,
I was gonna say, Nuke, I want to check the pulse of that dog behind you.
One second, it's snoring.
We know that. But Rollo, you joke about like make your own religion, make your own church, but you're right. You're right. Like a little bit of an off example. But yesterday there was some shenanigans in that expat group chat, and the girls were like, "Is there a woman only chat?" Blah blah blah, and apparently there was one. And I was just being tongue in cheek, where it's like, oh, is there an old dudes one? And it's like, oh, if this guy keeps going, you'll end up having this group chat to be male only. I'm like, don't worry about it. Some girls like the attention. And immediately they went like, what a misogynistic thing to say. I'm like, I don't care. It's like, first thing I told her, I don't care. Yeah. But if guys really are sick and tired of this nonsense, no offense, take some action, be like, you know what? I know a couple of good dudes that we share the same faith. You know what? Let's get together. You don't need to do it in a church. Just get together and go do something. I'm not going to tell you what to do because everybody else.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And to Rollo's point, I don't know everyone's background here, but when I went to university, I am an alumni of a Greek letter fraternity. And when you learn the history of most Greek letter fraternities, they were started by young men who just shared a common interest. And a lot of that time, it wasn't even like, we all like airplanes. It was the understanding that in order to advance our self-interests as an individual, we're not an island. We're going to need other like-minded men who are also self-interested, but our goals generally align. And the better we do, the better everyone else does. And a rising tide raises all ships. You look at almost every Greek letter fraternity in the United States, and that's how they were founded. Now, the problem that I've seen, because I've worked with some of the younger members of the fraternity,
and you are a problem,
and I am a problem. But I notice amongst Gen Z, and I don't know why. I wonder if it's just that maybe they've lived a life where the institutions have always been and there's very little room for something new to spring up. But the thought of starting something new seems to be foreign to them, as opposed to, well, why can't we change this thing that already pre-exists? Where prior generations would just say, well, screw it. Institution A, B, C, and D don't appeal to me. So let's start institution E. For some reason, that's kind of lost with Gen Z. And I think that's a big problem.
It's also made very cringe online, like the fraternity of excellence, the brotherhood of blah, 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 where it's like, oh, it has a bad.
Well, it's all performative now. That's why.
Exactly. You know who does a good job, though? I like Moff from,
I just talked to him the other day, actually.
Yeah. And, what's his channel called? Ancestral something.
Yeah, he's working his brand out. He's doing.
Yeah, but like Moff is doing a good thing. He's like, hey guys, you want to hang out? Sure, we're going camping or whatever. If that's interests you, come along. If that doesn't, then don't. But it's that thing of lead and those who care will follow kind of thing, you know. And you go there
and not the molestation stuff.
There's a solution to this, and I'm gonna give Gen Z the blame for this one, but it's called the watering hole method, right? There's a lot of jokes online about, when the Japan trip or the Mexico trip finally makes it out of the group chat, right? And what they're trying to communicate is that organizing anything within a group chat is nearly impossible because everyone has excuses, right? So it's like, no, I have to do this, no, I have to do that. So what you do is you go to somewhere where everyone kind of like enjoys it and just go by yourself and make friends at that place and create a watering hole, meaning that, hey guys, you know where I'm at on Wednesdays. You know where I'm at on Fridays. I'm at here. I'm doing this.
Yeah, that was usually
and then and you relieve the pressure of them having to like, hey guys, remember it's 9 p.m. We're gonna go do this or we're gonna go do that. But you just say, hey, this is what happens on Wednesdays and this is where I'm at. And eventually, one day they just show up and they're like, dude, you know everyone here. This is pretty chill. And that's how I did it. On Saturdays after Rule 0, I would just go to the pool. I would just go. I wouldn't text anyone. If they text me where you at, I'd be like, hey, I'm here. I would just go to the pool, right? And I would tell them, I throw in, hey, there's some hot chicks here, right? There's a couple hot blondes, whatever. And then we would just set up, get our speakers, our red meat, we'd grill and all that stuff. We have a nice pool. And then lo and behold, like 7 or 8 people from my apartment complex would show up every Saturday and boom, social life right there. I didn't have to like constantly coerce people. And then same thing with like salsa night or punk rock shows I go to or whatever I do, I just say, hey, this is happening. I'm going. And then I'm either making friends there or my friends are just like, whoa, dude, that looks awesome. And that's I call it the watering hole method. You create a watering hole where they can make the choice and they don't feel pressured. And it's not like you're not racking your brain how to convince someone through a group chat. You just say, hey, guys, I'm here. And that's it.
Yeah,
that's
you actually bring up a very good point that I was kind of thinking about while you were talking, Nuke, is we also have to account for, especially with the younger generation, the conditioning, I guess, the behavioral conditioning of instant gratification, right? Like the idea that like, oh, I want to start something and the fact it's been 90 days and it hasn't taken off. Most guys today will abandon. Where in the past, there was this understanding that it may be a very like piddling thing for a couple years and a lot of hard work before it takes off.
Yeah.
And like your example specifically, like that was successful because you were willing to put in the work. But like how many guys are actually willing to put in the work and accept the fact that it's going to be shit for the first 18 months?
Yeah, you go to a new place or a new environment you're not going to be the top guy, right? You have to go there constantly and be sociable and be polite, not be creepy to the women, maybe befriend the woman. And then eventually, like in a month, hey, so Nuke's here.
Yeah.
Dude, we thought you weren't coming. And then boom.
What you're talking about is doing things
simple.
off the internet, which is like crazy. What do you mean? You mean you have to get off the internet and do things?
And it's so simple. You lead by example. That's what
Jack
you do.
and Rob talk about this. Like, before you worry about girls liking you, do dudes like you? Do they want to hang around you, dude? Like, everyone wants pussy, but no one wants to be likable. That's the fucking problem.
If
like, you're not likable, dude. No one wants to hang around you. What makes you think a girl wants to fuck you?
If you cannot open the old guy at the cash register, don't even try with the hot chick. Don't even try.
Well,
if you can't have a normal conversation with a normal man, don't try with chicks.
Most guys, especially, I've noticed this in the last, almost certainly Gen Z. Hopefully this isn't the case with Gen Alpha, whatever the fuck we're calling it. But like the latter half of the millennials, is like a lot of those guys, they don't know how to interact with dudes, much less
100%.
Right.
And that's the thing. They got to get off the internet.
Where like if I'm like, so what's funny is like when I first met Mike Sartain, we instantly hit it off. He wanted to do he already knew what I was thinking. He wanted to do a podcast, right? And we were just fucking around with each other, ribbing each other. And it's like we were just long lost brothers. Like we never, and of course we're insulting each other and fucking around with each, throwing a football down the hallway of sticky paws and stuff. And it just like, it was this natural, because I know how to deal with guys. I have a brother myself, a younger brother myself. Right. And I think a lot of people looked at that and they go, wow, oh, he's insulting him. He's oh, shots fired.
He's calling him gay. He's calling him gay.
Yeah, he just called him a pussy.
Fired, bro. You guys don't know how to fucking deal with men, how men deal with men. And the thing is like they either see it as like an insult, or it's bullying, or it's like hazing, And if you're not like they're talking about your feelings in some fucking drum circle, then that's the kind of masculinity that they're used to, and everything, or else it's got to be literal. Everything has to be to the letter instead
autistic.
Of autism. Like people like when I throw when I and God ruthlessly, like just absolutely ruthlessly, when me and Aaron Clary go at it, and we're
God,
yeah, fuck you back, when we're doing that, people think, oh man, Rolo must have a problem with Aaron Clary. I'm like, no. This is us bullshitting. This is how dudes bullshit with each other.
That's how you build trust.
Nuke used to text me honestly, every now and then.
I think it's because is this generation has been brought up on tablets and behind a screen and behind text, right? And so you don't get vocal intonations, and you don't know if somebody's like fucking with you. Even people fuck with you. You always know a guy who doesn't know how to deal with the guys if he fucking with you, if the guy takes it seriously.
No, but like Nuke used to text me every now and then. For it's like, hey, it's been a while, but I haven't called you an F slur in a while, so here it goes, you homo.
every time I do a mic check, no matter where I am at, no matter what studio I'm at, I'm like, instead of 1, 2, 3, I'm like, Aaron Clary is a homosexual.
Yeah, I mean, the watering hole method is good because, it's like first off, it gives you kind of like takes a problem that everyone's like the male loneliness epidemic. You just take it by the balls and say, I'm gonna fucking solve this problem in my life, and that gives you it empowers you. I know empower is a gay word, but it makes you feel like you got control, right? And then you go out and you say hello to people, and you're doing something you like, whether it be salsa or going to a show or going whatever the fuck you like. And then eventually, like, wait, these people like what I like. And then you realize, too, that all the online political talk and all that red pill shit, no one really cares. They're tired of that shit in real life. They want to talk about the band. Hey, dude, what band is this? Or like, did you see who opened for the so-and-so? Or, hey, I saw them last month. Really? And then, boom, you have a friend. And nowhere in that conversation are you talking about the end of society or what Trump signed into law. You're like, wow, people are people, and I just made a friend. And you shake their hand. Right. And over time, girls will notice. Girls will start noticing and be like, hey, that guy knows a lot of people. Let me put myself in your orbit. And then your friend comes and then you built it. But it takes repetition. Just you got to be consistent. Go do the things you enjoy constantly that are, and even if it's like World of Warcraft. I know Shatarti said World of Warcraft is the only niche where no women, you'll never find women, but even that's changing. There's World of Warcraft hoes there too, guys. So
have you guys become friends with regulars at the gym? That happened to me a couple of times where you see the same people over and over again that at a certain point you just pretend you know each other. It's like,
Well, all the time.
Some of them I know. That's how I met Alvaro Pena. Like he's just there all the time, and like I mean, he stands out pretty much. And so he was working out with Hide Yamagishi, and then like I started working out with Hide, and then suddenly now we're friends, right? But yeah, it's like just that like there's a sort of a natural flow like in real IRL in real life when you frequent certain places and you go to those places all the time. But it requires guys to go out and actually do something for sure. But I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say that like this whole bullshit narrative of the male loneliness crisis is horseshit, is manufactured.
I don't believe it.
Manufactured crisis. Because if you want to know how it originated from, I think it was this, it was in the Boston Globe. Like I think it was in 2019. Cause I remember Pat Campbell was still alive when I read this. And it was like based on a survey of I don't know how many men. Like I said, how many close friends do you have? Like how many people could you call? Like they wanted to find some sort of like men's mental health issue kind of thing. Like that's like one of these really subjective, really vague ways of dismissing men's struggles or men's issues or anything that might somehow relate to guys, right? And they all want to be very, very concerned about it because it's, men's issues are unignorable right now. Like, how come there aren't more men in college? How come there are, men are dropping out of the workforce? All that, how come men aren't participating in society, essentially, right? And so they trace it back to this loneliness crisis. And I'm like, first of all, the stats point out that only like, was it 15, not under 20% of men don't have like a really super close personal friend, right? But that means like 80, 85 do, okay? I mean, that's like pretty good batting average, okay? So, but the problem is, I think one of the reasons why they think, and of course, there's all these other questions that are that go along with that, but I think one of the reasons we came to this conclusion, just mass hysteria, I don't know, we just, as a society, global society, as an online society, came to this conclusion is because men don't make friends like women do. Men don't emote like women do. Men don't communicate like women do. And therefore, there must be something fundamentally clinically retarded about these guys because they lack the brain mechanisms that women do. But we live in a gynocentric, like specific, a female primary social order. And so when men don't form friendships like women do, or men don't converse and don't make time to communicate with your friends and go over to, hey, let's catch up at Starbucks. That if that's not happening, there must be something very wrong.
You want to restore a car together or something, or shooting together. You can not speak to your friend for an hour and go shooting and it'd be like, dude, that was awesome. See you next week. Not a word said.
It comes back again to empiricism versus emotionalism. And so the way we organize, a gynosexual social order organizes in egalitarian, social constructionist, emotionalist ways, like, communitarianism, right? And so what's happened, I think, anyways, and I don't think you'll ever hear even like Helen Andrews say something like this, but I think really since probably the mid 90s, we have restructured or re-engineered society in such a way that anything that deviates from a female experience is aberrant. It's like there's something wrong. There's something retarded. There's something, and I mean that in the clinical sense. There's something, something seriously, mechanically, physically, endocrinological wrong with men because they're not like women. In fact, we base our ideal perfection of like humanity on a female experience. So therefore men will never be able to be perfect, realized, actualized human beings until they can become more like a woman, until they can actually become a woman. And so therefore what you're saying is socially, I think is that men are subhuman. They're not human until they can be more like a woman. And and I see this exemplified, like when the Louis Theroux thing came out with the documentary and all this stuff, and people are just like, "Oh, these guys I worry about the fate of our kids, and we need to re-educate our children and everything." Re-educate them in how? To make them more like women, to make them more feminized. I even watched Dr. Richard Reeves was talking about toxic masculinity. He says, okay, well, what's the opposite, right? What is positive masculinity? What's non-toxic masculinity, right? And all of the attributes that they could come up with all sound like feminine female qualities, right? So what you're saying is to not be toxically masculine is to be more feminine. And I'm like, finally, like sooner or later, Richard Reeves is going to be red pill. I have full confidence that he's going to go red pill at some point. Maybe not.
Gotta get his wife to divorce him. Gotta wait till his wife divorces him.
Yeah,
he'll be there.
Well, even his wife. I have a video clip that I actually saved. He was talking about how his wife actually came to him at one point and said, "I need you to be more masculine."
Whoa! Oh shit!
Rolo, I can give you just to sign off on what you said, and to add to that, what I've seen, I don't think this is common. I think it's more the loud voices of the internet spurgs, but I have seen men echo kind of the way women maintain friendships, right? Women have to constantly be in contact with one another because the way they organize their hierarchies are by constantly jockeying. We're dudes, like a perfect example. Some of my fraternity brothers, when I got divorced and I hadn't spoken to in 20 years, the second they found out I was divorced, they were like, "What do you need?" Like, I had the most massive support network of guys that I hadn't talked to in 20 years. That is unheard of amongst women. But to your point, and what I've seen recently is guys echoing, "Well, if I haven't talked to a guy in 6 months, like, is he really my friend?" And I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck were you raised? Like, what feminine bullshit were you raised on to think that you need to talk to a guy constantly in order for him to still be considered a friend? Like, that is a very, very feminine guideline as to like what qualifies as a friend. That is not masculine in any way, shape, or form.
There's this joke where it's like women like say, "Hey, so you met up with your friend after 6 months. So did he tell you about that he wasn't getting engaged?" He's like, "No, we didn't even talk about it." Did you ask about his son and his kids? Nope, didn't talk about his kids either. Well, what did you guys talk about? I don't know. It was nice to see him though. That's how men are.
Yeah. Well,
like we don't care about that stuff. We just don't.
I imagine what like my wife must think like when I talk to like old friends on they call me up out of the blue or something like that. I have a good friend, his name's Spencer Harding. He used to be the host of 40K radio back in the day, like back in the early like 2000s, mid 2000s. And he still is one of my best friends, right? He just hit me up recently saying he's separated from his wife and he's filed for divorce and everything like that. And I'll tell you, we just started texting and started talking, and like we never stopped. It was just a continuation of the next conversation, right? And I think that's like, we didn't have to catch up. Like, how are the kids? Like, what's going on in your life? No, we just picked up the conversation and went from there. And then like, I'll be talking to other people that I've known for a long time, or maybe if I'm talking to Mike or something like that. And we have this really kind of short, it takes all of 4 minutes, 5-minute conversation about something like, "Okay, see you, bye." And then my wife, "What's wrong? Are you guys fighting?" No, it's just, that's how we end a conversation. Like me and Aaron Clary, if I'm talking to Aaron, he wants to do something. Okay, we'll do this, bang, call over. And I think to the female mind, that sounds like hostility.
Hate each other. Yeah, like they hate each other.
Now, do you guys think these young guys understand, like younger, let's say under 25, maybe 28, understand like what we're talking about right now? Like, do you think that they have just different, like a 22-year-old guy right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's biology.
Different.
And the thing is, if there's a woman around, they will act feminine, right? This is what I've seen with the younger guys. Like, if there's a girl around, they'll act feminine. But the minute the girl leaves, they're like, they act themselves. It's just, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, they have been taught that girls are girls, and they have to like be careful what they say around them because it's 2026, right? But the minute a girl goes away and you're just like, "Hey, dude, look at that ass over there," they're like, slowly turn, and they're like, "Yeah, that's really nice." But you can see like they're fighting to be normal. It's sad, but you just gotta, like, that's what my dad, when I was 12 years old, my dad would be like, "Look at those knockers over there," and I was 12. I'm like, "Dad, stop!" But I get it, because even your own dad will be like, try to test to see for trust. That's how we trust each other, right? It's not about the woman. It's about
or straight.
Yeah, probably too.
I have this. Maybe I'll see if I can dig it up. I watched this little video clip. Do you know who Jimmy Carr is? The guy who's like the comedian.
Yeah.
That dork. Yeah, he's becoming a dork.
He's like the Timu version of the UK version of Matt Rife. Matt Rife does it way better. It's all crowd work, right? And somebody in the crowd asked him about the manosphere, right? And so he had a lot to say about the manosphere, right?
Oh boy.
Of course, it's all derogatory towards guys, but like of course then it's like then you can't be all derogatory. You have to just have something to build guys back up. So he's like, well, we need guys to go back to the pub, and we need guys to go like get together and hang out with each other and everything, and not because we need fraternity, not because we need we need to address the male loneliness crisis or anything like that. It's so we can police each other's thoughts.
Oh,
what it is basically like what Nuke was just saying a minute ago. It's like the conversation, like dude, the conversation about like when the woman leaves and you go, oh, look at that ass. What Jimmy Carr is saying, like when that takes place, you're supposed to say, you shouldn't objectify women like that.
The Gillette commercial all over again. We're living in the Gillette commercial.
Yes.
Have you seen our group chat? We are this close to installing the fourth right. It's like we are not going to control our speech.
Have you guys seen this? This is like the partisan guy. I've been watching this, and this is just for the United States, but there's like even a wider one in like South Korea, which explains the fertility crisis. But it's funny to me, like you look at how women have become way, way more liberal. And men have more or less kind of up and down, but stayed within that 10 plus 10, threshold right in there. Right. So essentially, if you look at this, look at these stats, women have become radically more left wing, radically more woke, radically more feminist, radically more. And what's that based on? Communitarianism. And it seems to women like this is logic, right? And what happens is you'll get this narrative of these guys. I think this is where the male loneliness crisis comes in. Is right here. Actually, this is the male loneliness crisis. It's only just told in political terms, right?
Demoralization, psyop.
So if you look at the purple line there for women, right? That's in a gynocentric social order. The purple line is what represents normalcy. If we're going to base a society, organizing society, on the female experience being the correct experience, then what this looks like is it looks like men have radically shifted to the right.
Right.
They've stayed the same. Women have, but we still consider the female experience the normative experience. And so therefore it must be men who are like aberrant. It must be men who are like just retarded, and there must be something wrong with them. And we need to have more programs, and we need Louis Theroux to do another documentary to tell us what's what. And it's like, no, they've stayed the same. You females, women have gone so far off the deep end, and we think that, and we still think that that's the normative. We think that that's normal. So it's not that men have become more radicalized. It's because we use women as the benchmark for society, and they have gone so far to the left that we think that should be the norm. And then when you look where men are, it seems like they're Neanderthals and they're all want to, repeal the 19th and all this other stuff that goes along with that, which is just, rhetoric from black pill doomers that has been around for forever. But now they suddenly, hit upon that. And it seems like men are radicalizing when in fact it's actually women who are radicalizing, and men have pretty much stayed the same.
Can you pull up that chart again? How does that align with Occupy Wall Street? Just asking. When was Occupy Wall Street again? 2000?
Yeah, right. 2009. Yeah, 2009. Yeah.
Now but I ain't saying.
The funniest part to that is like the solution is so goddamn simple. Like, have you ever, like, obviously there's certain structures where if you have a female boss, maybe don't do this, but like it's so easy just to be like, fuck off. And like be like, stop being a fucking neurotic psychopath. Like, it's really not that difficult. Like, even for myself, and I remember telling this story like a year or so ago, but the job I do, I work with a lot of salespeople, and sales people tend to be very charismatic, but the double-edged sword of that is they're also very emotional. And I'm not. I go in, do my job, I support them. And I remember being hauled into the office and being told that one of the complaints of the salespeople that I work with is that I don't share in their joy and their wins and get frustrated when they get frustrated. Like basically echo their emotions. And I straight up told my boss, I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. Like, nowhere in my contract does it say I need to be a fucking dancing monkey in emotional support for salespeople. Like, most guys wouldn't dare say that to their boss, though. But you have the right to fucking say no. Like, that's all it takes. Like, the reason we're in this situation as a society is because basically male thirst. Too many pussies unwilling to be like, fuck off. No, you're being crazy.
Stripper, do you have like a little bit lost in translation here, but like, do you have like a permanent contract?
Yeah, like don't pull that shit on your 3 months, but
yeah, like because most guys, and I don't know how it is in the States, but I remember back in the Netherlands, it is hard these days to get a permanent contract. It's like a year. Wait, no, it's 6 months, a year, then 2 years, and maybe after that you get a permanent one. But they will pull that shit on you while you're in your like yearly contract, where it's like, you're not emoting with us. You're not a team player. If you pull that shit then and tell them to fuck off, they will find a reason to get rid of you. So I'm playing devil's advocate here. You are right. Don't get me wrong. You are right, but it's wrong.
Yeah, there's obviously ways to go about it. And if it's going to sacrifice your job, no. But outside of your job, in your relationships, or even some fucking Karen on the street, like, who gives a fuck?
I know.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man. Dude, I agree with you. The problem is I've been on the other end of that nonsense where I was like, that's not my job. And within like a week or two, they were like, oh, you just don't fit the team. And it's like, what? My numbers were the best, by the way, but nope, they found a reason, and that, why do you think, and I've said this before and I will say it again, men are not falling behind. We're ahead of the curve, on all of this nonsense. Why are men not applying to white collar jobs anymore? Because of this fucking kindergarten nonsense.
Yep. And it's fair. Go to the trades. Go work in like I can tell you, when you work in like a more blue collar job, because I do a white collar job, very analytical right now, but I've done blue collar work, and especially when you get into lower wages, like, not to sound like a goddamn feminist, but there is a certain bit of privilege that comes with comfortable economic situations where you can focus more on things like microaggressions and emotions and that shit. When you work with people who their primary concern is living paycheck to paycheck to put food on the table for their kids, all of that shit disappears. All of that fucking like, oh, you hurt my feelings, like, that shit doesn't fly because they have greater concerns. It's basically like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The problem
they're trying to get home alive because of the job. They probably don't want to cut their fingers off or
exactly. The problem is now is we live in such luxury that we can nitpick over the dumbest fucking shit and treat it as serious.
Peterson even said that, right? Like, all of this climate nonsense, this equality nonsense it all comes from a place of people who have their basic needs in order. Wait, did Stripper just drop? God damn it.
Maybe it looks like it. I actually have to bounce though too, guys. So I'll see you later. I got an appointment.
Good to see you, Paul.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Awesome. Thank you guys. Take care.
See you, Paul.
Let me get to some of these super chats while everybody's still sort of resetting here.
And then it was us again.
Way backwards. Oh, there he is. Hang on. Got him. My observation is a lot of boys had no fathers that could be an example to them about male bonding. True. Or they had very blue pill fathers. Like, you got to remember, I've said this in actually as far back as Positive Masculinity. You have a generation of blue pill boys who were raised by blue pill fathers, right? Let's see. Guys need to have real experiences that bond them: hunting, fishing, camping, weightlifting, etc., and just enjoying life and learning to rip and insult each other in good fun without being a berg. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the premises of my group Reignite is like, I get these guys and we go out deep sea fishing, right? We'll go out to the gun range. We go out and do, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm like the fidgety kid on Adderall. I want to go out in the playground and play. I don't want to be in a classroom setting if I'm trying to, communicate and teach guys stuff. So I'll go out and go deep sea fishing. We'll go to a gun range. We'll go out on ATVs. We'll go out to like Top Golf, whatever it is. And that's where the classroom is, as far as I'm concerned. It's like when guys have a shared goal or a project or a shared interest, that's where the real communication between men begins. Is like there has to be something that we're both working on. When you look at things like, people hate using this example because I'm sure the trads will come out of the woodwork, but like guys going and coming together to build the ancient cathedrals and the Gothic cathedrals in Europe, right? They were building churches that only their grandchildren would see or their children would see, right? But they're starting on it, but they still did it. Well, why? Because it's men coming together in a shared interest, in a shared project, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to keep building this generationally until this thing is the baddest ass church in Western Europe. The same thing you could say that about a lot of different human endeavors, is that they're men coming together to solve problems, to complete projects, do things creatively, do things constructively, sometimes destructively. But it's still guys getting together. And that's how men, like when men organize, I think that's one of the reasons why women fear the manosphere, or they fear uniquely male spaces, is because it is a time and a place where men gather together, and they might start talking about how hot that chick's ass is, right? Or they might actually take it upon themselves to say, you know what, we're going to organize and we're going to take back authority. And that is what frightens them more than anything. If you look at like the male loneliness epidemic, if you look at the sort of atomization of men since 2000, right? In every instance, it is always meant to separate. It is always meant to isolate guys. Like that's why the disillusion of male spaces is a thing. That's why when we look at like individual problems for guys dropping out of society, what are they doing? They're staying at home. What are they doing? Playing video games and stroking off to pornography and very solitary, singular activities, right? Well, why would they be doing that? Well, what else do they have? Where are they going to get together? Where's the boys club? Where's the Boy Scouts? Where's the club? Where's the Elks Club? Where can guys like gather and actually do that without having someone try to tear it down? And that's I think that has been sort of like this unitary purpose really since the rise of the internet, more or less. We are more socially isolate guys, and we sell we're like right now we're all together, but we're not. I'm here alone in my studio right now, and so are you guys. And we kind of like sell the internet as this big extroversion when in fact it's really an introversion.
But we are the only ones calling that out, right? Where it's like, remember, like you mentioned the Boy Scouts, but remember how that had to be turned into the Scouts? They still have the Girl Scouts, but we can't have the Boy Scouts anymore. And now all of a sudden, male loneliness, eat a dick. Like, if that really is an issue, then why did you dismantle the Boy Scouts? How about you reinstate all that, Start there.
You know what? I would even go so far as to say, like, screw the Scouts. Like, take small actions. Like, here's a perfect example. Like, this morning before I hopped on here, every 2 weeks, I have a buddy, and we just walk. We go to an indoor track. We spend an hour and a half. We shoot the shit. We talk about politics. We talk about concepts. We talk about red pill shit. Like, we just shoot the shit and catch up. And then I have other buddies that I'll go do activities with, right? Like screw the Scouts. Like, I get where you're coming from, Jack. But at this point, any institution that's been around for a while and is now corrupted, you might as well just burn to the ground and start something new. Like, if you really wanted to, like, I have a young son. He's got, for his birthday party, they all the kids went bowling. It was a group of boys. They all had a great time. Like, if I was so inclined, I could be like, you want to know what? To spur that on a random Saturday, I'll text all the parents, be like, hey, I'm thinking of taking the boys bowling again. You cool? And there you go. Now
Can his sister join?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like when that happens, you have to, whoever is in charge of the group has to make it very apparent that the answer is no girls are allowed. Like even before I joined this space, the same buddy I go for a walk with, I have another fraternity brother. I used to have like a big pit, like a bonfire pit in my backyard. And on Friday nights, we just get together, shoot the shit, build the fire, and burn shit.
Nice.
Cook some steak, right?
Fire always brings us together for some reason. What is that
like
about
you
fire?
don't like that's the thing too, which I want to kind of push back on. Not that anyone here is promoting it, but there is this idea of like this all or nothing. And you don't need to do that. It can be really simple, small things to start. And once you get into the habit of building those communities of men, only men, gatekeeping for men, eventually at some point, either one of the guys will have a problem, maybe he needs a deck built, like who knows? Those guys will come together and now they're accomplishing something. Once they accomplish something, they're like, well, fuck, we can do that with something else. And it grows from there. There's this weird fucking, I don't even know what to call it. This idea that like you need to launch off 0 to 100 in half a second. And anyone who's ever accomplished anything knows that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You're right.
One strategy I came up to like for the whole like male group and then women coming into it is that you have to assign them responsibilities that you would to men and they usually leave, right? So let's say you have a poker night with your buddies, right? Or you play in a band or something. A girl's like, hey, I want to play too, or whatever. I want to, just like you would tell your friends, hey, it's your job to bring snacks, to bring the dip, the chicken dip and all that stuff that we usually eat. It's your job to order the pizza. And when it's the girl's turn, give her responsibilities, right? Like, hey, it's your turn to do this, this, and that. And you realize over time, she's going to be like, this isn't worth it. Like, this is work. I thought I was just going to come here and be cute. And that's why you see a lot of crash outs on the internet with all these e-trads and all that stuff, because they just want to be pretty. They don't understand that this streamer stuff, it's work. You don't just show up and just look cute and all that stuff. If you don't believe me, look at X right now. Everyone's complaining about the payout. These people that all they did was copy and paste someone else's work and put it as theirs, and they're just like, why am I not getting $3,000 a week every 2 weeks like I used to? Well, you're not doing the work. Time's up. And that's how you do with women. Like, I remember what I would do is me and my friends, we'd play like pickleball or like some kind of sport sometimes, right? And then I'd be like, yeah, it's so-and-so's, the girl, like whoever girl's tagging along, right? It's your turn to bring the rackets. It's your turn to bring the snacks, the water jugs, all that stuff. It's your turn, right? And, in about 2 weeks, she was gone. She didn't come back because like, oh shit, I actually have to like contribute. And that's why girls get into these groups. It's because while all the men are doing the work, the women are just standing around. Make them do shit. And I promise you, they will leave. And if the ones stay, yeah.
I have a question for Rolo, and it's because like Nuke, you and Jack are younger than I am. I'm not. I'm kind of like in the middle between you and Rolo. But Rolo, like yeah, growing up, I remember, and it's still this way with my friend group, even after like most of us are married, is when you're doing something, it is acknowledged right off the bat. Is it co-ed or boys only?
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if the younger generations do that. Like, that was an assumption right off the bat. You're like, okay, we're going to do this. Boys only? And you'll get like, yeah. Okay, cool. And it's understood that it's boys only. Like, I don't know if guys do that anymore.
That used to be the default. It used to be the default. Like that's why we got the term co-ed is because the standard was boys only. That's how you got the term co-ed, right? Meaning that there's going to be, men or women are going to be involved in this event. But the presumption is that any event that's out there, just presume that it's men only, unless otherwise noted as co-ed, right? And co-education. That's where it came from. Like the men and women, co-education of men and women. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, I mean, that used to be the way. As far as, I can even remember as far back as like maybe like the mid '80s or something like that, where that was happening. But there's a presumption of it already being a male space, unless it was like the Girl Scouts, obviously, unless it was something that was like very specific to women. But now I think, like, I remember when was it Condoleezza Rice got her first, like, I don't know how she became the first female member of Augusta, like the golf club, right? And they made a huge deal out of that, and it was about the same time that the Boy Scouts was getting like reorganized to be like just the Scouts. And what happens is you have these traditionally like long-term male organizations that are they're assimilated by a female imperative, and that's across the board. It's not just golf clubs. It might be Warhammer 40,000 with new female custodes, right? Or it might be like them putting women into position, and it doesn't improve the game. It doesn't improve the narrative. It doesn't improve the art. The art was what it was, but it needs to be inclusive. It needs to be this. No, actually it doesn't. In fact, the reason why it's special and that's unique is because it's non-inclusive, right? And I don't think people really realize that you're just basically creating this homogenous, stagnant, creatively stagnant society as a result of that, because it always has to include the unnecessarily gay couple, right? It has to always include the woman in power, right? There has to be a strong female lead. And it's like it's boring. It's cliche now. Like, it's so overdone right now that it's cliche. But that all comes from like the reason why we think of that as being a necessity is because it used to be that was just how it was. This is from a male perspective, and then that's what made Ellen Ripley in Alien unique. That's what made Sarah Connor unique. That's what made, there have been strong female leads through, despite what everybody would tell you. There's been plenty of strong female leads all through the 80s and the 90s. You just have to look for them, right?
Yeah, I think from like a practical standpoint, like actionable for guys, I think, because I work with some young Gen Z guys, and I don't know, like, I don't have a large enough pool to make an assessment, but from what I've seen, when they go do whatever, it's assumed that girlfriends are included or can be included. And I think it would actually be incumbent on young men to get out of that mindset or frame of thinking and really establish like boys only nights where, like, I don't care how horny you are, fucking save it for when the night's over. Like, just have a boys night.
I'm going to sell him out really quickly, but like Vince from Masculine Geek, who like I play D&D with these guys, right? Like once a month. I've been trying to do it once a month, but so we've been playing for the longest time, and it's me and Drew Bay and TJ, and it's just Aaron Clary's participated. Ryan Stone's been in on it a couple times. Hell, even Jack played once with us once. But like one time, I swear to God, I was just joking around. I was like, okay, guys, Torsia is going to come and join us tonight. And she's going to play this character or whatever. She's going to be this barbarian or something like that. And Vince was like, no, she is not going to. He was like, he thought it was serious, right? And that, so of course I start ribbing him as a result of that. But the thing is like, he was like very adamant that she not be involved. Like I would never do that, but I knew that it would get him because it's a boys club. That's like, it's just for us guys, right? And so every time I see like a picture of like Red Sonja and she's in like some chainmail bikini and it's like some chick doing cosplay, I go, what if I got Tori to wear this when we were playing? Can I have her come then? And they're like, no. But for the longest time, they took me seriously, and I was like, oh.
Vince is really like, he's really about like the guys doing their own thing.
Yeah, so, and I appreciate that too, and I'm glad he's like that. Let me get to the rest of these real quick. Also, why the fuck aren't men being invited to baby showers?
Jesus Christ. I couldn't think of anything else I'd not want to do.
Yeah, the most least thing I want to do. Seeing dating men report a lack of sexual energy from women. Essentially, they're front-loading beta bucks earlier. Some saying red pill is becoming outdated. Rolo had an exchange on this recently. Thoughts?
Oh, God.
I don't think it's so much that. I think that people are trying to tone it down. I think what I think that is it's a reaction to the Manosphere documentary, or the bad taste that's left in everybody's mouth as a result of that. So you'll see these guys who want to, well, first of all, it's trendy and you can brand build off of shitting on the Manosphere, and then second of all, it's the female, like the sneaky fuckers, right? The male feminists, the white knights, all want to pile on. And how do they pile on? Well, sex shouldn't be that important, and there's more important things in life than that, and blah blah blah. It's this downplaying. It happens all the time. These guys will think that desexualizing themselves is game. Like the more that they're sort of nonchalant, or they don't really care about sexuality. It's more about that woman's integrity and her character and all this other shit. No, she still has to be a hot piece of ass, and you still have to want to fuck her. So that's that.
The thing is too about the not sexual energy is guys are like taking women to places that aren't sexy. Like you're taking her to mini golf, dude. Like what's sexy about mini golf, right? You're filtering for women that don't like you that much. They're just going out to you because they had nothing better to do, right? There's a reason why you have compliance tests. Remember that? The PUAs talked about it. And now we think PUAs are these weirdos, but they figured everything out and it still works. Like, Rolo, what was your compliance test? Hey, hold my drink while I play this set, right? It's just checking for desire. Yeah, it's just checking for desire. So when guys come to me like, hey, this girl said this, I'm like, she's not into you, bro. And that's what the hardest, that they struggle so much. They're like, but she's answering my messages. Yeah, women love to waste men's time. It does not matter. Like, is she shit I get off the pot? Does she show up? Does she smell good? Is she wearing a sexy dress? Is she happy to see you? If not, then she's not with it, right? If you have to convince a girl to go out with you, like sit down and be like, listen, this is why you should go out with me. I picked a nice place, nice dinner. Please go out with me. Then of course she's not going to have desire. So like once you have genuine desire a couple times in your life, you'll realize what girls are willing to do at every stage to meet you. They'll drive an hour just to go on a date with you. And later on in the relationship, they won't even care that you're seeing other women. They'll be like, as long as I'm in number one, that's all I care about. Guys, stop filtering for women that don't like you that much. Yeah. Focus on the ones that do, even if they're a little bit less attractive, because that's how you learn what desire looks like. That way you don't have to keep being on dates with women that are checking their phone or looking to the left or look bored. And you won't hate and then blame the red pill when things don't look good for you. It's not our fault. We've been saying the things for 20 years now. Listen to us, for the love of God.
You're never going to want something less.
Well, dude, better question is, like, do you have women that text you? Like, are you the one that's always sending them texts hoping for a reply, or do you actually have women that are so interested in you that they will actually text you?
Yeah, I'm going to push back on that mini putt thing too, Nuke. Like, you can make anything fucking sexual. Like, think about it. If you went for a date and a girl's into you, and you're like, hey, we're going to mini putt. I know it's not actual golf, but if you have like a golf skirt, why don't you wear that? And then you set the rule that your phones are down. You go play mini putt. You know how many sexual innuendos you can make about sinking balls into holes? Then you can slowly progress touching to the point where when she obviously can't putt worth a shit, you can, like, once you've built that physical touch, you can do the thing where you stand behind her and fucking, you know what I mean? You can totally make mini putt sexual.
Way better idea.
It's the weather. Texas heat is like 98 in the summer.
Don't go to mini golf. Go to Top Golf, where you actually have real drivers and real balls, and you're smacking the balls off there. Do that, because
there's a bar.
Like, when I think of miniature golf, I think of, like, Chuck E. Cheese, man. I think of, like, kids wandering around at a video arcade and all this other shit. Like, to me, that's kind of like, I mean, if that's your thing, whatever, I'm not going to shit on that. But, like, if you want to include golf in your active date, like, go to Top Golf. We got one. We actually have two of them here in Vegas, and you're basically driving balls off of there. I mean, you could use a wedge too, I suppose, but I mean, it's a fun game, and they're bringing you drinks, and there's food there, and it's just a good time all around. It's actually a pretty active, fun date if you do it, and then if you actually happen to know how to swing a club, that's something of a physical activity. That's actually a lot of fun. Let me get the rest of these real quick. Hey, Rollo, could Painkiller by Judas Priest be interpreted as being about Jesus as harsh judge? That, my friend, is a philosophical stretch.
Is he faster than a bullet?
Oh man. I highly doubt that Rob Halford wrote that song and had that in mind. But if you want to go there, and the last one here is Jack and Rollo. I'm 33, 5'8", 236 pounds. Whoa. And I'm black. So you don't say. So you're not Dominican. I may be pre-diabetic. I'm going to a peptides clinic in New York City to try some retatrutide, and get down to 180 pounds.
Better keep that muscle mass.
Yeah, Retta is something that like I know, like Dr. Todd Lee, MD, would probably tell you this. You still have to have an active lifestyle. You still have to be always be lifting, right? You have to be exercising, and that will do probably more for you than Retta will. Is actually just change your diet and change your exercise regimen. Retta is a supplement for your stack, right? So if you're on I don't know how old this guy is. Did he say how old he was?
33.
Yeah. So whatever your stack happens to be, that peptides, whatever, TRT. If you're on gear, you're on gear. But retatrutide is just a supplement to that stack. So don't think of retatrutide as being some sort of like miracle drug for you. I saw this. What was it? I saw this. I was hoping Cappy would be on the show so I could bring this up. But I saw this article about how Ozempic, or I guess Retta or semaglutide, right, was sparking divorces. as having them, and I'm like, it's not because they changes their biochemistry. It's because the chicks get thinner. They don't want to be with that motherfucker anymore, and they want to get with the hotter guy because now they're getting like male attention as a result of them trimming down. Right?
Didn't Amy Schumer do that?
Yeah,
she lost a shit ton of weight, divorced her husband.
Talk to divorce lawyers. That's what they're saying right now. It's all like when one partner loses a lot of weight, the divorce is next on the line. Unless they both lose the weight and the guy kind of like, isn't afraid of showing, running dread and all that stuff. But still, man, good luck.
It's funny to me that's the case, because what happens if you through whatever means, if you improve women's sexual market value, or like at least even marginally, then suddenly divorces start. Same thing happened with hormonal birth control. Oh, now I don't have to be fucking this guy. I don't have to worry about getting pregnant by fucking other guys. I'm divorcing this guy, and I'm going to go be an empowered woman of, strong, independent woman.
Yeah, I want to kind of go back to the date thing, because it is something that's actually actionable. If you are a sexual man, you can make the most boring bullshit sexual. And I think it's actually incumbent on guys to try to do that, because essentially what you're doing by doing, and it's not bad to do a quote unquote sexy activity, but here's the problem. It becomes a crutch. And then you get into a long-term relationship. You're not going to be doing fun activities all the time, but you still need to be sexual all the time if you want to have sex at the frequency and the enthusiasm level that you want it to be. So if you just learn to ooze sexuality all the time in the most boring circumstances, that is a far better skill to build than trying to plan some elaborate date that's going to attempt to do that job for you.
This is what V-neck t-shirts were invented for, in the incline dumbbell press.
Right. I love this. Body positivity is no longer valid. Exactly. It died with Ozempic. Because now that if you can take a pill and magically lose weight, then I guess you're not beautiful at any size, right? So
people were just lazy.
That got swept right under the carpet after that.
This just confirms it.
Rollo, I'm currently 6'1". Holy shit! Look, you can see in his avatar there, 260 pounds with visible ab outlines. Okay, well, you got a 4-pack. Outline at 27. Do you think I should try retapeptide to get down to 240 and be 10% body fat?
Dude, you're
no.
Go for a fucking walk.
No. Exactly. Get to cardio. Start doing cardio. Watch. It's all abs are made in the fucking kitchen, not in the gym. The other thing is there's an easier way. There's a much quicker way than retatrutide. It's called clenbuterol and C3 or T3, T3 and clenbuterol. That's how bodybuilders get ripped for competition. If you want to do it really, really fast, you will probably be a raging maniac as a result of it. But you will get down. You will lose body fat as a result of that. And then Anavar. Anavar will not only it's an anabolic steroid. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to shoot straight with you. You will lose weight on Anavar too, because that's part of that gig. So if you went on Anavar, retatrutide, and clenbuterol and T3, and I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice whatsoever. Sorry, YouTube. But if you like, you need to be committed, my friend.
Can I be the voice of reason on this one? Can I be the voice of reason? It's like, dude, find out your caloric maintenance, go under that, and go for at least 10,000 steps a day, man. That's it.
I'm going to take
overload and keep doing what you're doing, and don't worry about the stacks until you're out of Oh, and are you a competitive bodybuilder? Because in my humble opinion, if you're not a competitive bodybuilder, don't try with anything other than TRT. But that's me.
Like that was going to kind of be what my initial question is, why? Like, and this is the problem I have with looks maxing, right? Like, if you're doing it because you're going to be a professional bodybuilder and you want to get sub 10% body fat, totally understand. I get it. If you're doing it to get laid, you are at the point of diminishing returns, my friend. You are already physically good enough to go get laid. If you're not getting laid, it's because you're deficient in other areas and you're coping through looks. So knock that shit off. Yeah, knock that shit off. Go learn game. Go be social. Do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. 10 to 12 is actually I don't think what people realize, especially now that people are starting to like, well, what's a peptide? What's retatrutide? Like people are starting to get curious, right? But the thing is that maintaining a 10% body fat, like that's like, unless you have
that's no fun
genetics,
it's not fun.
Realize the amount of work you would have to put in, the amount of self-control you have to put into your diet and your exercise to maintain that. You could get down,
and your libido's gone. No libido. So what's the point if you have no libido to fuck?
I know. I know guys at Powerhouse Gym who are 8.5% body fat, and they look fucking great, man. But
like
they
roadmaps
all the time. You know, they're not at 8%, 8.5%. Maybe like for like 1 month or 2 months of the year they are, because they're prepping for a show. But yeah, I mean, maintaining that is difficult. I don't think people really realize, like, even just putting on muscle mass is like how much you have to eat to put on muscle mass, right? And what you have to eat to put on it, and the level of absolute insanity that you have to be obsessive compulsive about that kind of stuff. So getting to like 12 to 15, even 12 is a little stretch, but like 12 to 15%, which is the sweet spot for body fat percentage. I think that's fantastic. If you got visible abs, even if they're just like, you know, just coming in, you got Surratt, you can see your Surratts coming in because you're like on top of your back routine. Yeah, I mean, you're going to look good, and you're going to. Oh, here's the other thing: is like, what is it? 75% of the U.S. population is overweight already, and then what? 35% of guys are morbidly obese, and 40% of women are morbidly obese. If you can get in that range of the 15 to 12% body fat, you're already so far ahead of.
Yeah, go to an airport. Yes, go to an airport.
Put a number on it. Just can you see your abs? Yes or no?
If can you see your dick?
Yeah, well, that one too. Can you see your dick?
That's like step one. If you can't see your dick, bro, then you got to hit the bro. You got to do something quick.
Yeah. Well, that's what we always tell guys. Like when I have guys come in to Reignite or like Mike and MOA and stuff, the first place we start is like, you got to go to the gym. That's where it all starts, right? Because I mean, and it's good. It's just sound logic. You know, most of the guys are going to 75% of them are going to be overweight. So go to the gym, and from there it starts. It's synchronous with money, muscles, and game. Money, muscles, and game are synergies. And I hate to use that term because it's overused, but like they're synergies, right? So you get in better shape. You were a fat ass, and now suddenly you're down to, even if you're at 15% body fat, So people start
dopamine
you differently, and now you have a different you're going to start manifesting different behaviors. Your social, your game is going to improve because the reaction, the way that people relate with you is going to change, and as a result of those social skills, maybe your financial situation changes as a result of that. But guess what? It took one thing for all of that to start that motion, and that's for you to get in the gym and be there persistently and regularly. Is that the only thing? No, but that's the starting point for sure. So, like, you're right. Like, I see all these like looks maxers, by the way, are not a new thing. I wish people would just like cut the shit with this, because I remember going in
metrosexual.
I remember like fighting guys like LMS, facing LMS. Anybody remember facing LMS? What happened to those dudes? What happened to wheat waffles? What happened to like all clavicular is just wheat waffles 3.0. You know, it's been around for forever.
You notice, by the way, I don't know if you saw that, but somebody tweeted it out. They were tuning in on his Kick live stream, and he had significantly fewer viewers than the attention he gets on Twitter, where it's like, wait a minute, something ain't adding up here. He isn't as popular as he is being made out to be, kind of thing. Where it's like,
the PUAs that made the most money were the ugliest.
True.
If you're ugly,
because they related.
Owen Kick is still raking it in, man.
Yeah,
dude, Owen is a guy I'd love to have a drink with. You know, he just comes across as such a social guy.
He's in Vegas, and he fluctuates between here and Los Angeles all the time.
But yeah, going back to kind of the body fat thing, like in university, I hung out with a lot of guys who were athletes, and I can tell you not a single one of them were at 15% body fat. Like 20% is very, very normal. And they were cleaning house with girls. So like, I'm not saying don't go to the gym.
They were athletes. That's status. Yeah. Status is crack cocaine for women.
No,
man.
but they still look good. Like, that's my point, is that like eventually you get to a point of diminishing returns. Like when you're fat and out of shape or super skinny, yes, hit the gym. But like once you get to the point where you look good in clothes, anything you do beyond that, like if you want to do it for yourself or for competitions, that's fine. But if you're doing it thinking that it's going to make a difference in getting laid, the answer is no.
Oh,
like straight out no.
There's a Goldilocks zone for everything about attraction. That's what guys don't get. It's like either you're do collab and break your face, or you're a fat fuck in your mother's basement. I'm like, dude, there's a Goldilocks zone for game. There's a Goldilocks zone for physique. There's a Goldilocks zone for everything. Everything. There's a Goldilocks zone.
There's also
so find it. Just find the Goldilocks zone. It takes a little bit of time, and you'll realize, hey, if I put on this shirt and my chest sticks out more than my stomach, that's enough to get these girls to kind of like side eye me and look at me a little bit. Looks like I'm in. Looks like I already got a ticket to the dance. I don't.
But there's also
if I do more, it's for my own personal, because I just want to achieve greatness, which is fine. You know, like sometimes you just want to leave humanity behind. I can't tell another man what to do, but at the same time, find the Goldilocks zone. There's a Goldilocks zone for literally everything.
But there's also something guys don't realize, where the more in shape you get, like the better looking you get, you're going to face a lot of rejection as well, because there's one thing women do not like, and that's expectation. Yep. It's like, if you think you're going to get, you're going to get a couple of more looks, sure, but you're also getting a shitload of rejections because girls are inherently pretty lazy. You got to remember,
she won't even drink in front of you. She won't even have a donut in front of you. She'll be scared.
Yeah.
There's an Overton window to everything, and I even wrote about that. I called it the self-buffering, right? Because women just automatically assume that they're going to be held to the same standards that you hold yourself, which causes too much anxiety and will actually nuke relationships or the potential thereof. It is a thing. I've seen it happen multiple times in my life. So this idea that you can max everything and that will solve problems is fucking idiotic. I'll even tell you, a guy we all know here that I won't mention his name, but we DM one another a lot of times because both of us do very well sexually. And even then, you still run into fuckboy bullshit problems.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll put a period on this whole topic here real quickly, but You guys know I've been working with Mike Sartain for 3.5, almost 4 years now. Right? Michael Sartain. Yeah. Mike is okay.
Never heard of him.
No homo, but Mike's a good-looking guy. Facially, he's very symmetrical. He's very outspoken. He's got a good voice. He can, he's an MC. He broadcasts himself very well. He's very likable. He's very social. His social skill, he bases MOA on social skill game, social circle game, right? Mm-hmm. And Mike has done several videos about how like women fuck you based on status, right? It's like him. You could be good looking. Sometimes being the best looking dude, looking good is status. So, I've talked to him about this on a few occasions, especially now that clavicular has become a thing, right? But like I started thinking about this, and I go, I've known Mike for the last 3.5, 4 years, and I've never seen him. I know all of his girlfriends. I know all the girls he's fucking. I know all the girls he's had 3-ways with. I have, I've been there. I've seen it happen, right? So it's like when I look at Mike is not at 15% body fat. Okay. Mike is not a bodybuilder person. He's in good shape. He's in decent enough shape, but he's not flexing his abs at Wet Republic. Okay. He's a good dude. He wrote, like, there's other ways that Mike has learned that work best for him and his girlfriend. That's not his girlfriend right now. She's stunning. I mean, she's got, she's exactly the Las Vegas girl archetype that you would think. And he's always been with women like that. I've never seen him with anything less than an 8 and an 8.5 or a 9, at least in my book is concerned, and not based solely on his looks, but his status, his game, his stature. Yes. Does he have money? Of course he does, but he doesn't lead with his wallet. You got to earn his trust, and you got to earn his, or if you want a relationship status with him, there's a list of requirements for that. He's very good at what he does. But again, he's good looking enough to get his foot in the door. And then everything else after that is status, it's game, it's personality, it's charisma that goes along after that. That's why he's good at being a host. That's why he's good at being an MC, is because he's definitely extroverted. And I'll stop right now, but I will say this is like, it's not, I mean, he's good looking enough. And that's what gets him in the door with some of the best looking women I've ever seen.
You don't have to break your face to talk to a girl. You don't have to take.
Yeah, you don't have to break your jaw. Exactly. Well, so now I'm going to be and I'm going to play devil's advocate right now. You still have to have a look, and you still have to have style.
Yeah.
Be just guy. You can't just be Dockers in a sensible button down shirt. You have to have something about you. There has to be something that is unique about you, whether that's your style. Sometimes, like I've said in the past, a great physique is the best form of peacocking. Like if you're the guy that walks into the room and you're the tallest and has the best physique, that's status that is visible right there. Right.
Well,
you can't, like, game and status and all this other stuff it works, don't get me wrong, but nothing like, all of that is no substitute when your shirt comes off at the beach. Right. So there has to be something done there, but I would argue that it's not the only thing. That's where looks maxers fall off. They think it's the only thing.
Well, and I would argue that that's with not just with looks, right? Like, women want a well-rounded man. They want the whole package. Now, and guys, what they'll do is whatever they find easy, they will attempt to lead and max with that. You see it all the time. The guys who don't have charisma but are really smart and engineers, they will lead with their wallet. The guys who are hit the gym and can get a 6-pack are going to double down on looks. And it is the stupidest strategy to get women, because women want it all. Like, whatever you're deficient in, eventually in a long-term relationship will come to light. So you are better off being 7 out of 10 in everything you can possibly be than being 10 out of 10 in one category.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say is that one of the only things I've disagreed with, like Rich, I agree with Rich Cooper on pretty much everything, right? One thing that's always talked about is like, what you probably heard him say this. It's like, don't chase women, chase excellence. Like, what the fuck is that? Right? And I think what happens is guys, when we're talking about money, muscles, and game, whatever that guy's strength happens to be, those guys gross out in that one area, right? So
yeah, 100%.
If you make a lot of money and you get chicks because you have a lot of money, suddenly your outlook on women is, well, they're all whores, or they're all gold diggers, so I'll just make a lot of money, right? If you are very, very good looking and you're poor and you don't have any money and you are you're kind of game deficient or social skill deficient, and all you do, and you get laid because of your physique, you'll say, well, they just want, it's all about looks, right? If all you do is gross out in game, and for example, like even Owen Cook, he doesn't look good, and the way he dresses and the way he acts, he doesn't look like he has any money, but he's very good with women. And I have seen him live in person, like just unbelievably. I have it's inexplicable like how this works for him, but it works for him. He just grossed out in game, and to the exception of physique, and he makes him a lot of money, but like you would never know he makes a lot of money, but he grossed out in game, and that is what works for him. And the thing is like, I agree with Stripper. I think that you should be simultaneously working on all of those at the same time, so that you go through that process of becoming more well-rounded, better. You're like, I've referred to myself as a jack of all trades, master of some. Like I don't think like specialization is stagnation, right? If you just do one fucking thing. Like I heard this described recently. I forget the guy's name. It was not even a Red Pill podcast. It was this guy was talking about how, I think it's Aristophanes said, he had this parable about like the fox and the hedgehog, and the fox knows a lot of things about a lot of few things about a lot of things, and then the hedgehog knows everything about one thing, right? And so what happens is, if you happen to be able to make a lot of money on that one thing, you're golden. Everybody sees that as a standard. But if you're the fox knows how to improvise. He knows enough about a lot of things that he becomes an expert, and he can get along better, and he has a better life as a result of that. And I tend to think of myself as a fox rather than a hedgehog, because I think a lot of people just gross out. Like for clavicular, he's a hedgehog. He knows one fucking thing, and that's it. And that's maxing, right?
Yeah, and to expand on that, Rolo, because I 100% agree. I'm not a big fan of riches chase excellence. And there's a downside to it. And I wrote about this like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. But the mental model, I call it like you catch what you bait with, right? And so when you chase excellence, so to speak, right, which really is you just leading with money, the women you are going to attract are women who are attracted to that quality. And the problem lies in, well, first of all, in a long-term relationship, eventually the other bullshit catches up, like we spoke about before. But immediately, what if something outside of your control screws up whatever that is? Whether you're leading with your wallet and you lose your job. Maybe you're a looks maxer and you get a crippling injury where you can no longer live for the rest of your life, right? Like now you're screwed because you haven't diversified your funds, so to speak, right? Like, and so I'm a big proponent of that as well, is to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I'd say it's
why
being able to
go ahead, Rollo.
I'm going to get to this last super chat and then we'll wrap here. But I thought this is funny. I will, but we haven't given me nearly enough super chats to do it yet.
What is the bar?
You gotta pay. You gotta pay if you want the reveal.
Here's the thing: is I shaved my head before I went in for my first surgery back in December. I didn't have to; I just did it for convenience sake, right? And I've been keeping it like short and tight, and actually, I think it kind of looks good right now. I've been going out without a beanie and without a hat for a while now, but I haven't really done it on a podcast yet. I might do it on an Access Vegas. I might do it on my show tomorrow. But like, I think what I might do is like make a goal. Like if I can get like $1,000 in like super chats, and then I'll do the rest of the show with no beanie on. But anyways, let's get these real quick. I'm starting my career as a fireman It's something I really love, but I understand it's not much status. I don't think so. It could be hot to a woman for 5 seconds, but how do you grapple with that when your passion
this is easy.
High status?
I don't see it counting calendars.
Yeah. There's a lot of hot
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go to Instagram, post cool pictures of you and your firefighter buddies doing firefighter stuff. Sprinkle in some normal people do. There you go, and then have a hobby or something you like to do where you can
under that jacket that you get.
Yeah, it's easy.
Do you know how many like male strippers at the male review, like Chippendales or like, Thunder Down Under, they do the hot fireman act? Trust me. Yeah.
This guy's like, I got $100,000. How do I make $5,000 more dollars? I don't know, dude.
Well, and then so high status. Well, first of all, like one of the things that Mike and I were talking about is the status to income like relation for women. And I know what it was. We were talking about how guys most men don't really care about what a woman does, right? We don't care about the high-powered executive. We don't want to get with a woman who's like super rich, boss babe bitch. We'd rather get with the nice, feminine, hot girl who works at Applebee's, right? And of course, everybody has to say that's not how it works. It's assortative mating. And look at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. Don't ever look at Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos as an example of assortative mating. But the idea is that like high-powered, highly successful, high-status men tend to seek out high-status women. No, they don't. And the thing is like there can be, because here's the difference. There can be guys who have a high-status job, but they don't make the kind of money that Jeff Bezos does, right? Or they make a lot of money and it's a low status job. So I know guys who are welders. I know guys who are plumbers. I know guys who are like, dudes who own their own business, but it's like they're trash collectors or whatever it is. It's a low status job, but it's a high paying job. Well, where's the benchmark between who's high status at that point, right? The guy who has a lot of money who doesn't work in a really glamorous industry, or the guy who works in a glamorous industry and he doesn't make shit. Most rock stars broke ass. Every rock star is broke ass, with rare exceptions, are broke ass.
I'm also going to throw this out here is I know more than a fair share of attractive women where it's not even money or status that attracts them, it's competence. Yeah. And when you have a blue collar job that you do well, whether you're a bricklayer, an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, there are women that are highly, highly attracted to that.
Well, competence.
But it's like his last thing, like, how do you grapple with that when your passion isn't high status? Like, buddy, I mean, there's plenty of women out there, man. Like, do you go out and things like that? And don't lead with it.
I think. Have you ever watched Fire Country? It's on net or it's on Paramount. But no, I mean, like fire. Like there's sexy fireman calendars for fuck's sake, dude. I think you're okay. I think you're all right with it. Now, you're not a rock star, but like you're kind of. I think one of the reasons why women like the sexy fireman sort of like archetype is because they're accessible. He's not on stage. He's out there fighting fires and doing good, but he also looks hot because you have to stay in really good shape to be a firefighter. So it's almost like this.
It's not out of vanity. It's out of necessity.
He's lawful. Warrior. He's hot, but he's lawful good.
Have you ever seen that guy on Instagram that just chops wood?
Yeah.
Dude, his female following is fucking insane. There are women taking like cuts of him chopping wood and then posting how they're basically wetting their pants and posting that on Instagram for others to see.
Yeah, like he probably needs a bouncer now to keep these women away.
I don't know how this show. I follow him now, but I don't know how he showed up in my feed. He's a garbage man. And he has this I don't know, he probably takes like a GoPro or he takes his phone or whatever and he puts it on like a mount or something that's on the side. He waits on the back. He rides on the back of the garbage truck. And then he drops off and he's always to some music and he's always got he's smiling and everything. The guy's in shape. He goes and he grabs all the trash, throws it into the trash and then grabs back on and jumps back onto the back of the trash truck and goes on to the next thing. And the dude's definitely in shape, kind of have to be for that. And he's super popular just because, and he's a trash man. And just because he went on Instagram
You love to see it.
and I'll follow this guy. I'm amazed at like the following that he gets as a result of that. But he is technically a garbage man. So I mean, it just kind of depends on how you play it. Let me get.
You got to brainstorm. Yeah, creativity.
Gentlemen, all that you mentioned are global. We got exactly the same problems in Poland with Roman Catholic Church and feminization of the public sphere. Semi regards to strong independent men. Exactly.
Even the Roman Catholic Church in Poland.
Okay. I want everybody to say Rolla was right, because if anybody has seen the Mormon Wives show on Netflix right now, what did I say back in the day? Even the Mormon Church will be feminized and will be assimilated by feminism. Boom. There you go. What do you got going on, Jack? Let's finish up.
Okay, couple of things. Of course, the YouTube channel shows on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, and Friday night with Rob at 10 p.m. Central, and every other week or so I host Rule Zero. My YouTube channel is in the chat right now. You can go check that out. For all my writing and work like that, you can go to my Substack. New essay out right now about the sidebar that is being talked about a lot. I had a lot of guys in my audience who didn't even know what the sidebar was, so I turned most of it into an essay and a new reading list. You can go check that out in the chat as well. And of course, the book on women, 200 pages of condensed red pill lessons, successes, failures, and notes swapped, now available on paperback and Kindle via Amazon. Link to that will be in the chat as well. Please go check that out, guys. Thank you.
Cool. Nuke. Go.
Follow my YouTube and Substack. That's all I got.
There you go. Stripper, I follow you on Substack. What else you got going on?
Oh, do you? Thank you, sir. Yeah, so this is actually something I am going to promote. So on April 17th, which I think is this Friday, right? Yeah. I will be doing the first sex ed Q&A. I got 4 good questions that were asked by my subscribers, and we're going to go over them in detail. It's not going to be like game theory or the stuff. It's literally going to be very sex ed, very biology based. Learning basically how the body works, where erogenous zones are, going over issues guys can have. So it's going to be the sex ed you probably should have got in high school, but you're getting it now as an adult.
Cool. Excellent. And as far as what I am doing tomorrow, I will be on my show, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, The Rational Male. I am probably going to be doing it here because I think Kyle is celebrating Miguel's birthday this week. So I think he's got the day off. Speaking of the 17th, I will be at Babes in Toyland at Blake Shelton's Old Red, which is like a country kind of bar here in Vegas. It's at the rooftop. That's going on. If you guys want to come by and say hi, I'll be there with my wife, and probably Leona will be with us too. Leona Logan. And then Mike's doing his thing there, but it's a really fun time. It's for charity. It's Babes in Toyland once again. And then May, I've got middle of May, I'm going to Miami, go see the guys in Fresh and Fit, probably at a Danza project. My Reignite group is meeting up there. So if you want to get involved in the Reignite meetup in Miami, just go to reignitealpha.com and talk to Joe Marone, and he'll get you all set up. And then the fishing trip is officially booked there. I have no more seats available on that. So we are all paid up and ready to go. So myself included, all 6 of us, we're going out on the 14th of May. So with that said, and then of course you can always buy this book on Amazon. I got to match Jack's Riz.
Isn't it the other way around?
Yeah, exactly.
I should match yours.
Something like that. But yes, Kindly Myers will be there. She's at every last one of these. So anyways, guys, I will see you later. Thanks for joining us. And who has the duty next? Nuke, I think you're the next one to do.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, so on Nuke's channel next Saturday. All right, fellas, thanks a lot. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.